Okay, so this is the third video for today. And let's see what was the plan. Okay. Well, first of all, the calculator, I called it calc. I called it CACL. I couldn't even type the calc. Okay, no problem. I'm going to rename it. So I close the file and I say here, git move calc clock. What was the name of the file? Oh, it's in day 2, right? It's in day 2. So I cd there. ls, okay. Git, it's called git move, okay. Git move. This is how I can rename a file which is already in Git. And I'm going to call it add numbers because that's what we did there, okay. Git status. And it says it sort of staged the idea of renaming a file. So I git commit better name, better file name. Okay. And then I come back and Ctrl-P and type in add. And this says, here's how I found it. Now, I wanted to show you the other thing, okay, because the multiplication. So let's try that one. I remove this and I create a new one, a new file, Ctrl-N. I put it here, the length and the width. And I save it, what is it? Rectangle, all right? Rectangle. Pi. So we ask for those two values, and then we say let area equal to length times width. Sorry. This let is another language that I'm working on too much recently, so I'm getting confused. So area equal to length times width, and then I print out the area f string, right? F string. The area is area. Right. Okay. So now let's try to run this. It says Python rectangle. It asks, so 2, 3. And now I get this different error, and that's this is not the error I wanted to show you earlier. That's why I switched to adding. It says type error, can't multiply sequence by non-int. Okay, this sounds really, really horrible. What is a sequence here? But the non-int is okay. It's sort of understandable, of types str. So these strings that are in between double quotes, they are called str. That's the type. Okay, not int, not float. It's str. And basically it says that one of them, it notices that it's a string, and that it can't multiply with a string. So obviously earlier it did something with the addition, but it wasn't what I wanted. Now it just blows up because it can't do it. So the proper way to do it is, of course, converting them into, let's say, int, okay, if we are assuming integers. And then run again. And then 2 and 3. And the area is 6. So I multiply them and it works. Okay. So this is other thing. But notice it. I read the last line, not the trace back and all this. First started with the last line, and this is how I got the error. And here is, and I know where the error is, the line 4. Okay. Um, right. I wanted to create a little, what was it called? Oh, I forgot the name. A little game, let's say, where I ask you a question and the user has to answer. So let's call it, what is this language? Quiz, language quiz, language. I don't know how to write quiz. Okay. What is this language? This is the name of the file. What is this language? Okay. So what I would like to do is ask you input. What is this programming language? Okay. And here is the answer. Language equal. Typed it correctly? I think I typed it correctly. Language equal. Okay, so I'm asking you, what is this language? And now if I need to verify, I would like to verify that you typed in the proper name of the language. So I I ask if language, and then nicely it offers me to autocomplete here already, equal to Python, colon, print, you are right. Okay, so this is what we have. Let's try this. Python, name of the program is, what is this language? Wrong window, sorry. I was trying to it in the wrong window. Python, what is this language? Okay. Wait a second. I try to move the whole thing a little bit higher up so we can see the bottom of the screen as well. I'm resizing the windows so it will be easier to see them. Should have done it earlier. Okay, forget it now. Okay, so Python, what is this language? Okay, it's out, what is this language? I type in, is it R? And it doesn't say anything. I said, okay, what is it? It's Python. And it says, you are right. Okay, so what did we do here? We asked the user, okay, that's already we know how to ask the user and got some answer. And then we use the if statement, which is a conditional statement in Python. It's actually in basically every programming language, to compare two values. In this time, I use two equal signs. Two equal signs compare two values, whether they are equal or not. So remember, one equal sign is assignment, and two equal sign is used for comparing things, asking whether these are equal. And I could have compared whether it's smaller or greater and all kind of other operators. Less interesting for strings in this case. So I wanted to know if they are equal strings. Okay, and then I say you are right. The construct is then that after the condition, I have a colon, and then whatever happens, whatever should happen, if the condition is true, has to be indented to the right a few spaces, okay? How many exactly doesn't really matter, but the standard in Python is to put 4 spaces here. But I think as I started to write, and I don't remember, so I put in the colon, enter, it automatically, the editor automatically put me in that place, okay? Of course, I could have changed it. I could put, now I put it here, and now it has 8 spaces, and the code will still run. Okay, Python, it will still work. It doesn't matter how many spaces, it just has to be the same amount of spaces, and the recommendation is that it's 4. Now, what happens if I put some text here, a print statement here? Print done. Okay, this is not indented. Okay, indentation in Hebrew has a ha. Okay, indentation is the act of moving something to the right. That's well, at least in programming, but I guess it's also just typography would be the same. But I've never wrote nice big books, so I don't know. Now this line is not indented. It starts from the same column as the if, meaning it's outside of the if statement, meaning that this line will happen regardless whether the if statement is correct, or whether the condition in the if statement is correct or not. So if I go back here and I say, what is this programming language? I say Python. It says you are right, and it says done. And if I run again and say it's R, then it says done. Okay, so this happens all the time. This is already outside. It doesn't even have to be immediately after. I can put here several empty rows. Actually, it's better probably just to put one empty row. That's sort of the nice way to write. Now I can also put here more lines. Say print still here. Okay, I didn't have a better idea what to put there, but now I have two statements inside the if state, inside the block of the if statement, and they will both executed. So now if I write Python, okay, so both the you are right and the still here are printed, and the done is printed, of course. And if I answer here R, then only the done is printed, because these two are inside. So you can put as many lines as you want here. They are all going to be executed if the condition is true. Now about indentation, what happens if I put here 8 spaces, or I don't know how many spaces, doesn't matter. I already get here the red thingy. It says unexpected indentation. The editor already actually tells me, but let's see what the Python tells me. So basically, so the editor basically takes it from the compiler, not on its own. But you can see that this says indentation error, unexpected indent. Okay, what happens if I do the same but on the opposite direction? So I start with something deeper and then less deep. What is this language? That's a different indentation error. You can see this is indentation error, unexpected indent. This is indentation error, unindented. Unindent does not match any whatever outer indentation level. Okay, so basically it says that this was less indented than this. It's called outdented, but it didn't come all the way to the beginning, so it's not good. Either case is not good. Sorry, I have to drink sometimes. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that you can put as many things inside the after the colon indented. They have to be indented to the same level. And then optionally, I can also type here else, and then here put some other statements. Print not good. Okay, and then let's put here an empty row just for the readability. Actually, let's put an empty row also here, again, just for the readability. Now I run this. If I say it's Python, it prints out all the parts that are in the right condition. And if I run R, it says not good, and then the done. So the done is printed both cases because it's already outside of the if thing. Okay, you go ahead, do something, and says if something, do this, otherwise do that, and then you go on, and regardless of if it was true or false, now you do some common thing, and in this case printing out the done. this is one of the other major. Okay, all the parts of the programming are major now. Okay, so one interesting part of programming is all these conditionals. Okay, because your program will have to do things depending on whatever was the input. Okay, you would do this calculation or that calculation, or I don't know, you go right, you go left. So knowing about all these conditions is pretty useful. Okay, any questions here? I'm trying to look at the plans in the meantime. What was the plan? I don't remember what the plan was. Plans. Okay. So we did, this is probably, this I did, keep the repository up to date. And we even saw git move. And multiply numbers int. Any questions in the meantime? Well, I'll type in my notes. Float. What else? If statement indentation else. Oh, so far at error. Welcome to using input. This is now going to be a keyword. Okay. This will be pushed to the next meeting, I guess. Okay. So, sorry. This one. Let me close these ones. I don't need them. Add numbers, rectangle. What is this language? Okay, we are progressing way faster than I was expecting now. Probably because you don't have questions. So ask me questions, and then we can slow down. Okay, I have an idea. Let's improve this program. Okay, so we ask the user what is a couple of two improvements. Okay, I just remembered. One of them is this one. What happens if I type in Python? Okay, not good. It says not good. Okay, despite the fact that I actually typed in Python even better than earlier because it's P, capital P. So what can we do to improve this? We can press the dot here, and we can say lower, and then put parentheses here. This will convert the string to lowercase. It won't change language, okay? So you are right, and let me put it in here. It is language. So you will see what is in the language variable, okay? Now what happens if I run this and I type in Python? It says fine, everything, and it says it is Python. And what if I type in Python? Then it says you're right, this is Python. Okay, so what I did now is I said, okay, earlier I was comparing the two strings, and it was expected to be exact match, lowercase Python. Now I'm saying, no, I actually don't really care what is the case of the letters of this word. So even if you type P with a capital, Python with a capital P or lowercase p, it doesn't matter to me. I would like to accept both of them. So what I do is I convert your input into just lowercase letters and then compare it to the string in lowercase. But I don't actually change the variable language here. You see, in the second run, it kept the variable language kept the capital P. Okay, so it only changed it for the comparison. So this one returned, basically, this expression returned the lowercase version of this, whatever was in the language, and then compared it to this Python, to this string, and went on. Of course, if I come here now and say Python, that's also fine, right? I think actually that's one thing. Actually, there is another thing here that I could use. So here, okay, what is this thing? So everything in Python is what we call an object, and each object have methods. So language is a string, right? Because we ask the user, and it's all is an str, and str has all of these methods, and we can because of that add-on that we had installed, that we were asked to install. Because of that, I think VS Code is able to show, VS Code understands that this language is an str and offers me all the methods that this str have. So here, one of the methods that I saw here earlier is the capitalize. And I think this will convert it into this format. And now I need just to comment out this if statement, so it won't bother us. Okay, let's run it again. Python, not good. Okay. Oh, yeah, well. Okay, it didn't work. Why did it not work? Well, it's really difficult to understand at this point. But let's see, what does this capitalize give us? So let's take this print and print out what this capitalized gives. And for now, I comment out this whole thing, so all the output won't bother us. Okay, so it printed out this thing. It didn't fail. There was no error. It just printed out built-in method capitalize. What is this? Anyone has an idea what happened? Why didn't work this capitalize? Why the lower did work? There's a big difference how I used capitalize and how I use lower.
You're talking about syntax, like
syntactically, yeah, syntactically. There is some big difference.
So maybe you should write it as you did with the lower.
How? What is the difference?
I don't know how you call it. Sogreim.
Parentheses.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, exactly. So what happens is that language lower is a built-in method. Okay. Also, language capitalize is a built-in method. And if I don't put the pair of parentheses, then what I get back is the actual method. I don't use it. It's like I don't know what to compare. Cars, obviously, people. It's giving someone a car without using the car. Okay, I don't know if it's a good example. So basically, language capitalize is the tool itself. Without the parentheses, I didn't use the tool. I just gave the tool to someone. Okay, so here I just printed out the tool itself, and this is the representation of the tool. It says built-in method. And this address is some in the memory, doesn't really matter. So if I want to use it, I put the pair of parentheses, as I don't know who was talking, said. Sorry. I should pay attention more in this little window. It shows, I think, who's talking. So let's run it now. And I say Python. Okay, and it shows now with a capital P. So this is what the capital, this method does. Okay, this capitalized method that takes the first character, makes it uppercase, and all the rest lowercase. So I can type in here again, P, pi. Okay, doesn't matter the case I typed it, it gives me with a capital P and Iton. Okay, so I could use this, but it doesn't actually matter. It will accept both cases, so whatever. Okay, I tried to solve some problem. I created a different problem, but actually it's a good thing because I showed you how to use this, what this problem was. So I put this in comment. Again, actually, I put this one, and I put built-in method because we forgot to add parentheses. Okay. So I can comment out this now, this whole section, and put the parentheses at the end here. And now this should work. Okay, so if I type in Python, it's fine. If I type in pyth on, it's fine. Okay, it doesn't matter. Again, case. Okay, this didn't solve the problem I wanted. I wanted to solve the problem not to accept all these others. So accept only with a capital P or lowercase p and the rest of Python. I think I won't go into that now. It's not that an interesting task. But it's quite good that I fell in this error. This is actually one of the things that I like to show because it happens to all of us, as you could see to me, and it doesn't create an error. So it just here what happened is we were just comparing on the left-hand side this function or method, the built-in method. We were comparing whether it's the string Python. And to tell the truth, I would have expected Python to raise an exception and tell me, Gabor, you can't compare a function to a string. But unfortunately, Python didn't do this. So it just silently said they are not equal. And that's a difficult one to notice because you have to have some experience. Okay, so I'm glad that you saw this. Okay, what next? Any questions here so far? Okay, so let's give the user more chances in typing in the name of the language. Let's say, shall I do this? Yeah, let's do the following. while wait a second, I wanted to show you something else. I think that's okay. While true, and I take this whole thing and indent it. How do I do it? I highlighted it and press tab. It indents the whole thing at once. That's again something the editor does. Okay, so what does this? I don't even need the parentheses, sorry. So what is this? This is a loop, one of the loops of Python. There are two basically, and it's a slightly strange thing. It just says it keep asking as long as there is life. Let's try this. Okay, what is the name? What is programming language? So I type in R. Oh, not good. It couldn't stop. Okay. Huh, okay. Let's run it again and see a bug. Okay. I asked the user what is the programming language. I typed in one, and then it just kept printing not good, not good, not good, not good. It didn't offer me the chance to type in again a better one. So I pressed Ctrl-C. Okay, first of all, pressing Ctrl-C should stop the program. Okay, because you don't want this to run all the time. Okay. So looking at this code, anyone can give me an idea of what was the problem? What is the problem?
Because there is no question in the loop, and when you print wrong answer, it just continue to print not good.
Exactly. So first of all, I explain because maybe others don't understand. It's not clear for others. What this does is that as long as this is true, and it's always true, so it's just keep going. There's no condition to stop it. Check if language copy. Just do the checks and print out the stuff. And I never change the language here. So it will, once it got in this loop, it will just go on this loop, regardless whether it's true or no. So let's try the other one. If I type in actually Python, it will just keep telling me, oh, you're right, you're right. That's much better than the other one, right? But still not good. Okay, so I'm much happier than it says I'm really good many times, but still not the right program. And so the problem is that I never asked it. Now I could copy paste this. I could paste it here, but actually it's much better to just move the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to just move it here. And you know what is the problem now? Why is it red? Shift F8.
Indentation.
Exactly, thank you. Okay, so I press tab and then indentation is now correct. Okay, so let's get back. It says, I say R. Okay, so it's not good. Maybe it's Perl. It's not good. It's Java. No, it's Python. Now it's good, but it's still asking me question. Okay, and I would like it to stop. Okay, finally I got it right. So please stop asking me this question anymore. How do I do this? I say here, break. This breaks out from this current loop. Okay, so let's start again. Okay, now I can't, I mean, I changed the code, but this running one, okay, it doesn't change, okay? So if I keep answering here, it will just keep running. It didn't update the running program. I run it, it's running now. So if I type in Python, correctly, it will just keep asking. I have to stop it with Ctrl-C. I have no other way, and run it again. And now I say try it R, not good. Try Python. I don't bore you anymore with the others. And it says, okay, you're fine. And then done, and exit the program, okay? So this break broke out from the loop, okay? There's more to it, but so far is good. Okay, let's do any questions here. I put a lot of material now, so it won't be
I have a
surprising if
question.
you have questions. Yeah,
You did a while true and it caused some issues that you had to solve with the break.
yeah.
Wouldn't it be better to do while language is not Python? While language capital is not Python,
Okay, so
and put the condition as part of the stop?
okay, good
mechanism?
question, very good question. I copy paste the whole thing, and I put it in a comment, so we'll have it, and I'll try to write the one that you suggested. So you suggest, basically, wait a second. You suggest that this condition, while the language capitalize, what basically you said, right? If while this is not true, while this is not equal to, I don't know why I moved the only part of it. Wait a second, I return. Okay, so this is what you said. What now I have is that in this condition we break out, but I can take this condition and put here instead of the true, but then I have to convert it, right? It says if it's not equal. While it's not equal, as long as it's not equal, then ask the user what is the language.
You need to create the
print out.
variable first.
Sorry?
You need to create the variable before the while.
Well,
probably.
one of the problems, yes, indeed, I need to create the variable first. So I have to ask first, and then I will have to ask again, right? And inside
No,
here,
you don't have to ask first. You can just make it an empty variable.
but then what you say is that I convert it and say it's empty.
Outside of the while loop, before the while loop, you can just create the variable as an empty variable and then ask inside the
Oh, okay,
while.
okay. So what you say is that I put here an empty variable. The editor makes me crazy. Okay. And then I check whether the language is, but then what do I do? So if they are not equal, then I have to print out not good, right? Okay. And then I take the language, but when do I print out that they are right?
First, I'd ask for the input before the not good. And then I do the if check.
So I still have the whole if again, right?
Yeah.
I will have to have this if. Okay, so the if, I put back the if, and then I put back the whole not good. So I basically return the whole thing, right? But now I don't need the break. That's what you are saying.
Yes.
Okay. And when do I ask? Here or after?
Here is good, I think.
Okay. So let's try to read this now. Okay. So we get an empty string here. Okay. And we check whether we say, is it equal? And it says, well, it's not equal to Python because it's empty. And so we ask the user, okay, then what is the programming language? And then tell it good or not good. And if it's, and then we go back and when that's how Python works, then goes back to this point and checks the condition again. Okay. And then we ask the user again and check the condition here again. So let's try if it works. It seems that it's right. So if it's R, not good. Perl, not good. Python, good and done. Okay, so this is also a solution. Interestingly, when I was teaching from my slides, basically I did this solution first, and then I made this improvement, explaining why is this better. So there are a couple of things why this solution with the way I wrote here is better. One of them is that you have this condition twice here now. That's basically the main problem, the main issue. Okay, so if tomorrow you change the condition, okay, because you want to make it, you have to remember to change it in 2 places. And I can ensure you that you will forget, or someone will forget, okay? Like there are 30 students, 25 will forget, I think, okay? Because that's how we work, okay? It's included me, okay? So I include myself in among the people who forget this, okay? So in programming, there is one of the saying that they say to program dry. This is what they say, dry. Do not repeat yourself. I don't know where is the not, but that's the idea here, that if you can avoid repeating the same code, even if it's just a simple condition, then avoid it. And the reason is that one day you will change it, or maybe someone else. Okay, so now imagine that this is not a 5 line. This program is like 7 lines or 10 lines, not a big issue. But you have a program, and soon you will going to write programs with 100 or 200 lines of code, and then you give it to someone else, make changes. That person doesn't really know all these things, so it's not even the issue of forgetting. It's just not realizing that you have to change it in 2 locations. Okay? So that's one of the reasons that I think this is preferable, the green one. The other thing is that this defining this variable upfront and giving it a value, this is sort of what if in these cases, let's say the empty string is also correct, okay? So, well, maybe it's not possible that every value is correct. You can find some value that's not correct. So, so give it, okay, that in this case, probably it's not such a problem, okay? But in a way, it's cleaner that the language variable is confined into this loop than now that it's outside of the loop. Okay, actually in Python it's less an issue. In other languages, this localization has even more power. Okay. Any more questions or comments? So. I don't remember it. I never remember if there is an E at the end or not. Anyway, okay. So one more thing I think that I wanted to. I see that there are no comments, no more comments, no more. Okay, so let's try another thing that I wanted to show. Let's generate a random number. Ctrl-N, sorry. So in Python, there is a library called random. Actually, let's see. Where is the browser? Here's the browser. Python generate random number. I'm searching for it. So, I mean, I could just write how it's worked, but I wanted to show you. Oh, it's now trying to explain me. Ooh, that's horrible. Okay, I don't know what is the Python Central. But here, okay, I'll enlarge the font a little bit. Okay, this is the Microsoft Bing search. I don't know what Google would say. But if I scroll down a little bit here, one of the answers here is this one. Where is it? Docs, yeah. So this, if you can see the URL, docs.python.org, that's where the documentation of Python is. So in many cases, I trust that the most. So there can be all kind of other hits on this search engine or some other search engine that you might use. But this is the one that that comes from the documentation. So here there is it explains that there is a library called random in Python. Actually, you can also see the documentation for the different versions of Python. There might be differences how things work. Okay, hopefully they are improving with the version numbers. But when you are writing some code, you have to take in. You might need to take in account things. So definitely, you might. For example, this F string that we saw, I think I don't remember when was it. I think 3.6 or 3.7 actually introduced it. So if you have to make sure that your code runs on an older version of Python, you can't use that. And so at one point, you might need to get involved in reading, in caring about the version numbers. Anyway, this is the random library. This comes with Python. You don't have to install it. And this is also, it is what is called a pseudo-random generator. So it's not a real random number. If you try to get, how shall I explain? So if you're going to play the lottery, right? Then they are pulling out the generating this random number. There's a big ball and there's the small balls, and they take out the little balls, and then that's how they. I don't know actually how it's done in Israel. I've never seen it in the last, I don't know, since I moved here, 30 years or so. Anyway, in some place they're picking up these numbers. Okay, you have a cube, it's called, yeah, a die, and you throw the die, and then you get a random number between 1 and 6. That's fine. That's how nature gives you random numbers. A computer cannot actually, or it's harder for a computer to give you actual real random numbers. And it's expensive for a computer to do so. I'll explain in a second why. So instead of that, a long time ago, mathematicians came up with a function which is called a pseudo-random generator. It's a mathematical function. It's a series of numbers that has a random distribution. Okay, it says you can read this whole thing. It's a uniform, what is called a uniform distribution. I think that's the right name. So it will give you numbers between 0 and 1, floating point numbers, and every number has the same chance to be given, okay, even though it's actually a series of numbers. So basically, because it's a series of numbers, if I know what was the previous random number, I can tell you what is going to be the next random number. So it's not really random, it just looks like random. And therefore, for certain applications, you can't use it. Let's say security things and lottery and all these things where you really need random numbers. But for most of the stuff that you actually use random numbers, this library is fine. So how do we use it? If we have various methods on this library, we need to import the library first, and then we have various methods. Well, it's some advertisement is also showing. Okay, doesn't matter. So I'm going to create, I need to import random. Okay, and let's say it generate random.py. Okay, so I import random and then I get number equal to random. That's a very strange thing that both the name of the library and the name of the method is random, and then I can print it out, print number. Fine. Okay, so where do I go from here? Python generate random. Okay, so it generated a random number. If I run it again, it generates a different random number. It generates another different random number. Okay, so it looks fine. Okay, and we can use it for random numbers. Now, what if you would like to get a random number between 0 and 6? Okay, we know that this is between 0 and 1, floating point. But what if I would like to get a number like throwing a die? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so one of the whole numbers. Okay, well, I can use this random. Actually, this is also nice. So I can go to read the documentation, but I can also, once I came here and I pressed dot, it offers me all the methods that has this library. So it has the method called run. Of course, you still need to understand what these each do and how they work. So I give it a round range, and I think I need to give it 1 to 7. And this is, it's a die. This is how it's print die. Okay, so now I can run it. And you can see it gives me numbers between 1 and 6, included 1 and 6. The thing is that this is a range in Python, and in ranges in Python always include the lower end and never include the upper end. So that's why I had to write 7 here, because this actually means, as far as I know, let's see, actually, rand range. Okay, so randomly return a selected element from range start stop step. Okay, this is roughly equal. Okay. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I think I'm not. Let's see. If you have to run it enough times, right, to get the 7. But it can't give you a 7. Okay. Good. Okay. I wanted to see in the documentation. Anyway, so this gives you a random number in that range. That's it, I think. Any questions with this? No questions. Okay. So I have an idea of what to give you as an exercise, and I'm going to write it down. The way so you will need to create a new repository if you haven't created one yet for the assignments, one enough for all the assignments. And then you will have the instructions in our README file for both what is the assignment and how to submit it. But basically, you create a file, you add it to this repository, you push it out to GitHub, and then you open an issue on our shared repository, the same way you did it earlier, with a link to that repository where you have the assignment solved. And then I can check that, make that, of course, repository public. And the assignment is going to be a game where where the computer needs to generate a random number between, let's start with between 1 and 20. Okay, so it won't be too difficult to play the game. And the user needs to guess what is this number. Okay, whole numbers. Okay, just whole numbers. So the computer, let's say, guesses 7. The user types in 3. The computer tells the user, okay, your number is too low. And then the user can guess again. Okay, and then the user, the computer user guesses 17, and the computer tells you, oh no, it's too large, too big. Okay, and then once the user guessed the correct number, then you stop the program. Okay, I'll explain it in the README file. Any questions? If no questions, then I think we are done for today. I'm going to commit all these changes, push it out. The videos will be ready in a couple of hours. It takes time for Zoom to convert them and YouTube to process them. And I think next week we are not meeting, so see you, I think, 2 weeks. Oh, actually, if you have 2 weeks, then I can give you a bigger assignment.
I have a question that is not related to what we just talked about.
But about the course, about the programming?
Yeah. About the course. Yeah. So previously, when you changed the name of the file, right? You had this calc file and you wanted to rename it. So you used Git, Git command. But what if my file is not on Git repository?
If it's not Git, then I would just use you can just use move. I think in Windows it's called actually move, M-O-V-E. You could also use the file explorer. So the reason I used git move is because so you can use just the file explorer, this one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a problem.
But like your file was under your Git place, the file you opened?
I used the git move because it was Git already knew about the file and it was already recorded by Git. So I had to also tell Git that the file moved. It wasn't enough to move the file. Okay.
Yeah, I see.
Okay. If it wasn't, so if, like, let's say now, where is it? Here. Okay, let me enlarge this. So git status. So there are these files, the rectangular and the generate random and these are, Git doesn't know them yet. They says untrunked. So I wouldn't even be able to use git move. I could just use MV or use the file explorer to rename these files. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The git move I needed because I had to tell Git that it also needs to know about it.
The files were under your repository, like it wasn't on your computer?
No.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't understand, like, why did you have to, what was the location of the files? Was it like under something that is related to the Git?
So a couple of things here, okay? There's the folder, this now it's called Viz Python course, blah, blah, blah. This is the folder where all the Git files, all the files that Git controls are there. The Git workspace is there, okay?
So let's say if you had the file under C work, just under.
No, that's not. If it's just in there some random place, there's nothing to do with Git, then you use the file explorer, okay?
Okay.
But even if it's in the folder of Git, like these files, okay? But Git still doesn't know about them. So it's you still don't have to tell Git that move these files, even though they are in their folders, okay?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Just Git doesn't know about them yet because I didn't add them yet. Okay, the ones
Yeah.
that I already added, I also have to tell Git, hey, please move them.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
you're welcome. More questions and yeah, feel to ask all these other questions as well, of course. If no, yeah, if no more questions, then we can finish this. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah? Why I said Passover? Okay, I'm getting confused. 3 hours. I was talking 3 hours. So sorry, but also happy Hanukkah. Whatever. Happy holidays. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye bye.